the city like a
More classics.
in the city like a tourist, taking pictures for forever. Just me and music on a transit. I could ride this out forever. I'm in the city like a tourist. In the city like a tourist. I'm a Virgo, not a Taurus.
Hello, and thank you for joining us again in this season of Women Are Talking's Summer Sitdowns, which is pretty much a bunch of us creatives critiquing film and televisions of all genres. Please say hello to Roe, Jessica, and our newly friend that joined us, Gabby. And we're all aware of the rundown. We will each have 2 uninterrupted minutes to express our thoughts and opinions and critique on the selected films and shows. And because we are limited in time, we're just going to jump right into it. And the first film up is Judas and the Black Messiah on HBO Max. Who wants to go first?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. As Billy mentioned, I am Gabby, and I will go first. So, Judas and the Black Messiah. I actually saw that via a drive-through cinema when I went out of town, and I would say I would give it about 9 to 10, or if we're going by the stars, I would say 4.5 stars.
We'll be going by 5 stars because I'll be giving 3s. Connie, go ahead.
So I would say about a between a 4 to 4.5. I enjoyed the dialect of the screenplay, the writing of the actual movie. The only thing for me that I make the ratings a little bit low is because I saw it via a drive-through dining, so I guess it was not. It wasn't digital. It was more like analog. So the quality of the video was a little bit dark. So I just have to watch it again with the full aspect to where everything is a little bit more light. I would say where the lighting is a little bit better. But as far as the storyline, I believe it was good. I enjoyed the actors. Now, for the main Fred Hampton, what's his name? Brother Daniel? I believe his name is Daniel.
Yeah.
Ogo something. I gotta get his name right. I'm get it. But he did an okay job playing, Fred Hampton. So very interesting. Yeah, Daniel Kaluuya. He played the main character. So I enjoyed it. A little bit of the dialect too to me was sometimes interesting, like the way they would talk a bit back in the 70s, that dialect that they used.
And it's in Chicago.
Yeah, and then like sometimes Daniel's accent to me, I was just like, why do you sound jumbled up like when he's speaking? But yeah, overall, I would give my rating a 4 to 4.5 for Judas and the Black Messiah. The soundtrack though is the bomb. Like soundtrack for the piece is real good. So.
Oh, there's a soundtrack to it?
Yeah.
Does Shaka King executive produce that too?
Let's see. I want to say I know they have the original soundtrack, and then there's a soundtrack by Jay-Z that Jay-Z did.
Oh yeah.
So the one that was done by Jay-Z was really good. But that was Nipsey Hussle. That's one of the songs. But it said, I'm trying to figure out if that's the original soundtrack, but it's one of them. There's the original soundtrack, and then there's the original motion picture soundtrack. But whatever one that had her on it and Jay-Z and a few other artists like Rakim and all of them, that was really good.
Okay, I'm gonna check that out because I never really did follow to the music. I was all into the story itself because it's based on true, characters and true events and whatever. When I watched it, I made sure I was here by myself, and I didn't have anything to do for the next 2-3 hours. But because I know the story, I didn't want to interrupt, I didn't want to be interrupted because who knows how I was feeling at that time and have been interrupted. The response that response probably wouldn't have been pretty. I am in awe of all of the actors. I am in love with the new our new queen, Deborah Johnson. The one that played Deborah Johnson. Her name is Dominique Fishback. Um,
Hmm.
this girl, I don't know where they found her from, but they need to go back and find more because we need more of that. We need more of that.
She was
She was
actually introduced.
hypnotizing. This girl was hypnotized. As I was watching her, I just instantly thought of Viola Davis. And the reason why is because Viola Davis makes you want to know what she's going to do next every scene. And that's what that girl did to me. I looked forward to her scenes, and when I did, she never disappointed. Even to the point where the cop put a gun, to her belly, and the way she handled that, the way she executed that, all of us as women, oh, he would have had to kill me. No, the way she did it was was the epitome of women strength, the strength that we endured. That's what it looks like, people. If you need to see it in black and white, this is what it looks like. That's what she did. This little, I don't know how old she is. I'm calling her little girl. But this little girl,
And
amazing. Go ahead, Ro.
and not to interrupt you on that part, she was so phenomenal. I actually Googled her. She
Hmm.
changed her name. She went from her slave name to, I can't pronounce. I wrote it down, but she changed her name. That scene with the gun to her belly, of course, we know she said it really happened. The reason she said she kept that composure because she didn't want them to connect the baby to him. She was afraid that if they knew that that was his child, they would probably kill her or do something. So she said she kept composure. She pretended like she had no association to him. Aside,
Oh,
that
okay.
was why she did that. Yeah, but the actress portrayed that part by me because I googled it before I watched it because I wanted to kind of compare.
Yeah,
And when they did that scene, I was like, she totally executed it. She killed it. So
yeah, yeah.
uh-huh.
And even Leanne, Lakeith,
Lakeith Stanfield.
Yeah, he's yeah.
that young man. Even he was. I mean, I don't. I'm proud of the film. I'm proud he was in it. But I don't think he did anything that should have been nominated for an Oscar. I'm just saying. I didn't see anything reaching. I didn't see anything good. Get Out. He should have got nominated for that shit. I didn't see anything
Right.
that would have. Okay, honey, this is Oscar winning. I didn't see that because I didn't see him playing anything that was far fetched. Not to say that this is his character that he's known to be. Whatever. That I'm not saying that, but I'm just his mannerism, delivery, and so on and so forth. We've seen that before. We've seen that quite a few times. So it was, yes, the character himself that you played is a very iconic name. We know his journey, we know his story. You had to execute, yes, but it wasn't nothing reaching out of what you can do, if that makes sense.
It does.
So Daniel should have got an Oscar because that damn accent alone. he was like, "Oh, my peoples and my people." Oh.
Oh, yeah, his accent was like.
I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay."
It was good.
Yeah, it was good. I felt it. I felt it. Go ahead, Jessica.
I agree with you, ladies. I definitely give it a 4 to a 4.5. We've seen this story before, and I love the fact that it's coming from the point of view of William O'Neill in this aspect of it. It doesn't, in my eyes, it doesn't excuse anything, but it is nice to see more of his perspective of it. And then because he did have the insight that he was feeding to the FBI, to see what he saw, from that end. And so I think that was definitely a unique way to tell the story. Like I said on last week's show, I wouldn't fix what I said last week when I said I wanted this definitely for young white youth. I want this for all youth across the board.
Yeah.
All youth needs to see this film,
Yeah.
whether it be in the world of academia or on your own accord, be it just via curiosity or because you're forced to sit down and watch this. It needs
Yeah.
to be seen.
Yeah, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Also, not only, it's great that we showcase and highlight our heroes and so forth, but we also had villains amongst our people. And that's a great example of what it'll look like in our own. It was hard to watch at the same time, but I'm glad I watched it already knowing the story.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would have been like,
Mhm.
I hope he didn't leave any offspring. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? People would
Yeah.
think that way and whatever because of what he did. I just found it um very powerful how they used his last interview at the end of the film.
Yes.
I was like, oh
See,
yeah, that's what we
and like,
doing. It was
uh,
very powerful for them to use his last interview and then ended it with him committing suicide on Martin Luther King Day. I was, oh, okay, yeah.
The same day it aired.
and
The
like,
The
same
same
day
day
it aired.
it aired on
Yeah,
PBS. Like hours later, he killed himself.
he killed
That's
himself.
it.
He killed himself.
and like you, Ro, I was very intrigued by some of these things, so I went and Googled, but I went and digged. I wanted to see the
Oh,
whole
I
interview,
couldn't
just like
watch
that
it.
snippet that you put in the end. I needed to. I needed to. I said, I want to know. I want all of it. I want
Yeah.
all. I
Yeah.
want to see all of that. And it's because you saw the movie. The interview is not as difficult to watch
Okay.
as you might think.
Mm.
So you go ahead and watch.
I
Go ahead
think
and
too, what
watch.
makes the movie a lot more interesting too, as well, is because even within the aspect when it came out, I was looking it up to see, because his son, Fred Hampton's son, is still alive,
Yeah.
and as
One of
well
the
as
producers of the film.
yeah, and that was something that was very much because they actually, brought the family and got the family's input of
Yep.
what was going on. So that also made the dynamic of it so like profound because sometimes you have these writers, they go out and they make something, but they don't connect with the subject matter of the people that they're
Right.
making the films about.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
seeing
Mhm.
that the son actually had an input into this, as well as his mother, which the name changed the real name for the young lady that played Deborah Johnson. Her name changed. It just goes to show you the more authenticity of it is you bring in the actual subject matter into what it is that you're trying to, the story that you're telling.
Especially if you're telling their story. Like if I'm playing someone in such an impact in the culture and they're alive, I want to talk to them or talk to their offspring or talk to anybody that was in the same room with them for longer than an hour. You would want to know who they are so that you're giving them justice for what you're
Exactly.
about to do. It also makes me wonder if people like iconic actors, iconic actors like Martin Sheen, who played J. Edgar Hoover, how they feel about playing characters like that. That's
Mm-hmm.
one thing we don't hear. Do we need to hear it? No. But I'm just curious as to what it took out of you to play this
Exactly.
person in this light. We touched on it last time about Joel Edgerton in the Underground Railroad. You know how reaching we saw him do, but he executed. He did. He executed.
Yeah.
Besides the accent part, but he executed. So for Martin Sheen, who's up in age, who's been around during this era, who's you know what I'm saying, as a living evident of the incidents at hand, I wonder what are his thoughts in this story, especially
Yeah.
you playing such a huge figure. I
Yeah.
wonder what's
Yeah.
his thoughts.
Mm.
Would that be
Yeah.
flattering? Would that be, telling
Would
who
they
would?
admit would they admit to if they have, if they ever thought a certain way or had certain feelings that was going on to them days, because as we know it, he's still alive and he's
Yeah.
been around during that time. So where did you stand during all of this?
Yeah.
Were you for or were you against?
Yeah.
I think those, when it comes to that, Billy, the actors will let us know it themselves by their actions, and then they'll speak on it. Like, for instance, I think you and I had this conversation where, like, I would sooner have that conversation or have that same thought for Leonardo DiCaprio, who played him in the entire movie. See, Martin Sheen only had that snippet for playing J. Edgar Hoover in this role,
Mhm.
whereas Leonardo DiCaprio, you had to play this man for 3 hours.
Yeah, but Leonardo
So,
wasn't even
but and
born yet during that time. Martin Sheen was.
Well, no,
Yeah.
this is true. This is true.
That's like me
But
playing Harriet. Not that I can
Yeah.
give a
But-
Viola Davis performance, but I'll give you a goddamn performance. Like, you know what
You
I'm
get, you
saying?
gonna get Harriet.
We gonna get Harriet now. Like,
Go
so
get
it's you know what I'm saying? He was born. He was up. He was in the world during that time. So I'm sure you have a strong opinion about it. I think their silence is telling when they play these roles that they also lived through. and don't have an opinion to share, it's up to you. It's your opinion, but you're playing an impactful character who targeted and terrorized a whole,
Black people.
a race by choice. And if you're not for that, wouldn't you have an impact on it? Wouldn't you have a message to express about it?
Yeah.
Because remember when I said about Ridgeway and Underground, how his violent scenes, you could tell he was trying to hold back. You could tell he was, what. And afterwards, I went and did some, researching or whatever, and I think I found it on IMDb TV, with him commenting that he really did not want to do any physical interaction in his scenes. He just wanted to do the verbal dialogues. He didn't want to have to act out any type of whippings or nothing like that. And that's why it took him so long. The scene where Cora ran off or whatever, he had to go diving for her, this and the third or whatever, and how he did it. I was like, go ahead, kick in the thigh. Wait a minute, what am I saying? He was holding back, and you can see it. He didn't want to do that. He just wanted to verbally abuse her. He just wanted to do that. He didn't want to have to physically imply that, even though his character called for it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But Martin Sheen, what's your thoughts, bruh? Did you agree with Jet Edgar or did you not?
I think, I think maybe he might be, maybe he's an undercover one that, I felt probably was a part of the mess too.
Ain't getting to react out his real feelings.
You never know.
Well,
We
we'll
never
see.
know.
I just found. We'll see. I just found the interview
I was
that
gonna
he
say,
did
was it-
specifically on that on MSNBC. I'm gonna put it in the chat box.
Ooh.
And when on our own downtime, we can investigate this.
Look at you, Jessica. Look at you.
Because I do be
Hold on,
wanting
get
to
that
know,
right in the
like,
chat box.
even though we hear from our black actors who play these phenomenal characters, the white actors who has to counter them, I'm sure they had an experience as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who wants to talk about how I had to really give in myself being a slave owner? I understand, but I'm sure it had an impact on you as it has us. This is your ancestry that you're also
Right.
replaying. So what kind of impact does that have on you? Does it make you want to go out and do another march? Does it make you want to change your whole circle of friends? What does that do for you? I'm curious to know. Anyway, we're going to move on. Anybody else have anything else to say about it?
Definitely a recommendation for people to watch, adults and children, gain that knowledge that's out there. It's history, it's real life, it did happen.
And it did happen. You know what I found offensive too? The part where he was when they shot up the building and the cop was calling the lady Aunt Jemima and whatever.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
I was sitting there like, let's talk about what you. I was sitting there like,
It's horrible.
I was yelling at the screen on, especially a lot with the FBI. I was just like, are you serious?
Serious. And this really happened. The homegirl that was like shotgun in one hand, rifle in another. I'm like, okay, can she have a platform? Can we hear her story? Because that's who I want to know too. That's who I want to know. But anyway, I will say this too.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'll talk about what I wrote about it after you talk. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that the overall message that I received from the film was the dedication and the commitment that white supremacy given to just to kill the hope in black people is the most heinous part of the whole story. It was. I mean, and I think, I say that about all of the films we're talking about today. It's the everything that they put in, resources, all of this just to kill hope.
The spirit.
It was not just bodies you're collecting. It was just to kill the hope in us.
Mm-hmm.
What? Okay.
No, but that's exactly what. So for me, when I watched the movie, I literally I felt my daughter was like, looks like you're in school, because I was taking notes, because I had already, like I said, did the googling on and read about him, but actually I rarely write down what I want to say, but I did on this instance because it was so powerful to me. First, what impacted me, I never knew that Fred Hampton was that young when he was assassinated. I mean, 21, my God, he did more in that small age frame than people then I, as far as how I feel about being an African American and my input, he did so much and it was amazing. But I basically wrote Judas and the Black Messiah is a film for anyone, especially Black people, who need a reminder of the fear embedded in white people when it came to Black political parties in the 1960s. This movie stemmed on the short life of Fred Hampton, who was active as a revolutionary socialist for only 3 years, which like I say is amazing to me. And the movie was quick to evoke emotions of anger, sadness, and in some cases, like you said, hope, but how it gravitated back and forth from what actually was to what we as Black people, wanted our lives to look like.
Okay.
Like you said,
I'm
Jessica,
sorry. Yes,
no, you're
Bethel,
fine.
go sit. Go sit.
He's like, I want to talk about it. But like you said, Jessica, I love that it was portrayed, it was called Judas and the Black Messiah because it was seen from the eyes of, but not necessarily, just, Fred Hampton, but just like what he was going through and like how they misinterpreted, or should I say, was kind of looking like we're out to get him like from day one. It kind of seemed like that. I've never it was doing from the lens of Fred Hampton, but the baseline was heavily dependent on Bill O'Neill, who was played by Lakeith Stanfield. So through the Negro, we see the clear divide between niggas who cared about injustice, and excuse me for saying that, but it's true. Some cared about injustice, equality, and reclaiming who we were as people, and there were quite a few who didn't. And I'm gonna be honest, the movie opened up my eyes because in my mind, when you think about the 1960s, I'm thinking that every Black person there wanted equality, wanted justice, wanted that hope. And for me to actually see a complete movie made on some people that literally just did not care, I was like, I knew he didn't care. I knew what he did, but the level of him not caring through each scene blew my mind every single time. Even though I knew at the end of the movie what was going to happen, I was always waiting for that scene where I'm like, you don't have to do it. Like, you don't have to tell.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that. You know what I mean? I was still kind of waiting, even though I knew, what he was going to eventually do. For me, the acting along with the writing brought to life the truth that it's not just white people that don't care about us. And all too often, Black people make it easy for whites to negate who we are as people because we are personally negating who we are as people. We personally do that to ourselves. The movie hits this fact hard. It made me realize how much white people rely on our ignorance as Black people to stay one step ahead of our growth and prosperity. While Fred Hampton was assassinated, again, like I said, at 21, due to nothing but fear. Fear. He was assassinated because of fear. The film lays responsibility on the Black man that was such a primary factor in not only his demise, the demise of so many of his brothers and sisters. So, to me, Bill O'Neill didn't just kill Fred Hampton. He killed a lot of other people. He killed dreams. He killed hopes. I don't know if he knew that while he was doing what he was doing or when he decided to kill himself. I think my favorite line in the movie was, it was said by the FBI agent, Roy Mitchell, when he said, "You can't cheat your way to equality." And he was talking to him when they were eating. And I'm like, why do we have to, what do you mean? That line just I still can't even express it because we are equal just because. What do we mean we can't cheat our way to it? When he said that, I felt that because I'm thinking, no, we are equal, period. There is no cheating our way. There is no trying to manipulate our way through that. And I was just like, whoa, I don't know if that man really said that, but that line was executed well. It made me feel it because I don't have to prove my equality to anybody. And I would have hoped that Bill O'Neill sitting across from the table hearing that would have been like, what the hell? But no, he still went ahead and did what he had to do after that. So basically, I'd never heard about Shaka King before, to be honest. I will definitely follow what he has going on in the future. I think he directed it well. He executed well. The movie was shot good. I believe it deserved every accolade that it received. And I don't think anybody could portray Fred Hampton as beautifully as it was portrayed by Brother Daniel. I love his job. I love what he did. It had to pull him emotionally. I'm sure he was strong so many ways doing that movie, but that's what I have about it. I was, some heavy sipping last night, more than I wanted to. That's when I watched it, and I was like, my God, and I'm like, she don't have to stop putting these type of movies. No, because I had avoided it watching it, to be perfectly honest, but I'm so glad that I did. I am so glad that I did.
And I just want to pick on another point that you made in reference to even, the whole socialist and him being 21 and what key point that he was able to unite not only the Blacks, but at also one point it was non-Blacks,
yes.
poor whites. you know,
Yes.
the poor Latino community. And I think when the government saw that, they even became more fearful. Because when you have a combination of basically you have these set of races coming together as well as with their economic status coming together, then that becomes a more threat too.
Yes.
And that's what he was doing because he kept on saying for the people, for the people.
He was a powerhouse.
Right.
A powerhouse.
That and that is my main reason why I feel like all youth need to see this.
Yes.
To see that like there's more that draws us together as a people than just a race and just a sex and just economic status, like you said. It just common basic human needs.
Yeah.
Like just basic human dignity, decency.
Yeah. Even down to how
like,
he it was so crunching every time he, like, it was step by step that it was going.
Yep.
And to see how he was literally taking out his behind the scenes people at a certain pace and still making it seem like he was the shining light, like he was. It I felt triggered. I felt like, oh, I know somebody just like him. I know somebody just like him. That person exists still. You know, that's why they're so comfortable with the spirit and energy that they portray, because this is not nothing new.
Yep.
Okay, thank you for flushing the toilet. Okay.
Agreed.
Exactly.
It was greatly done.
Okay, Destin, thank you. Oh my god. No shame. Okay, next. You know what? Hold on real quick. I'm gonna cut this anyway. Hold on. I'm gonna cut this part out, but hold on.
Oh, cool.
No, it's funny that when you said that, like, oh, how she got us watching these.
Yeah.
I have been like, I watched Judas and Messiah twice, believe it or not. I was able to get it twice, so I was ready for that one. I had to watch the other two films, and I was like, I was gonna sit down one day and just get them out the way. No, because one of them had me in such an emotional state. I called them and was like, you did this to me. How emotional is the other one? Because I might need a break. I might need a day or two, and I'm cutting it close on time here.
Yeah. No, I agree. And honestly, for me, I'm an empath anyway. That's just me, my personality. So whatever. So when I'm watching a story like this and it's based on true events, like, and you, it's like, oh my God, what? So many other things could have been. So much this greatness got cut so short, you know, and you're in a mind replaying what if. But I
mean, that's the purpose of why they have. I feel like you said, Gabby, they targeted those ones because, and not just him.
You touching my thing?
Malcolm X, Mega Evers, Martin Luther King, like, okay, we have to get them. If we get them, this should fall. But they left some behind. They left tokens behind. Okay, they dropped seeds along the way. Okay, now some way along the way, one of these seeds sprouted.
That's right. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was it was well done though. You good, girl? You good? She can't hear yet. Wait. Everything all right?
Did you hear the toilet flush?
No. I didn't. Okay.
Listen, I'm like, out of all the problems you're having right now, wait for it, okay? Because where the toilet seat is gonna stay up or down is coming next.
Oh, he knows to keep it down. He knows that's automatic because he's not learning just from in here at home, but Brian now too. So it's an automatic. They don't have no seat lids in school.
And
that's another.
What's the coming soon?
What you watching, Gabby?
You're muted.
You're muted.
I'm trying to scope through on my channel to see if I have a particular show.
Oh.
I'm saying extra because I'm thinking I'm like, why can't it just work through? So.
Jessica, okay. I see the link. Okay. All right. And I'm back. Next up, United States versus Billie Holiday, shown on Hulu. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Look at Jessica. She was ready. She was like,
I was ready.
She was like, look, I got this.
I'm ready for this one because, again, Billie, you was getting cussed out again this morning.
Dang, this morning.
This morning. Yes, I got up nice and early, and I said I'm gonna watch this today because like I needed a break between
Mm-hmm.
the other film. So now, and I think I'm gonna say this, like you said, Ro, and I think this is I should have said it for Judah and Messiah, but you went ahead and said it. I'm gonna say this for all the films across the board. White Fear and Black Against Black are the two daggers that come at both ends of our community and just keep digging,
Say
digging,
that.
and digging. They haven't gotten to the soul, thank goodness. I don't know how, but and they just keep coming on both ends. You got White Fear on this side, and you got Black and Against Black on this side. The quote unquote war on drugs, yeah, that wasn't a war on drugs. That was a war on Black folk. And you specifically targeted Billie Holiday because she was doing a song that was enlightening folks, and not just
Yeah.
Black folks, white folks. Maybe that actually, she was putting up a mirror that was forcing you to look at yourself, and you didn't like that by song. But what I love is that was just the beginning. Not that we hadn't done it before, but the fact that she put it into the mainstream like that, I think just forced Black entertainers at some point along the way to stop and look at themselves and say, I don't like this and I need to speak up about it. And, Sam Cooke, a change gonna come. Aretha Franklin, respect. James Brown, say it loud, I'm Black and I'm proud. Like, come on, like that was she just, I feel like she was the one who set the trend for Black entertainers after this. At some point, you're gonna have to do your part. And I think slowly but surely they all have done that.
And she didn't even write the song.
Nope.
But she felt the song. She felt it. I can't. It just made me so emotional again to always see the pain and suffering that our people have to go through. Our women specifically, it hits home that much more and hurts that much more. And it just pinches my heart when I watch it and I see it. And it's done by Black men.
Yeah. Done by us.
And not just one, several. Back to back. Money. Money. It always comes down to money.
Number 10.
Yep.
Lee, you did a beautiful job, as you always did. I would expect no less from you. You have done it beautifully.
Yes.
And film. I think he shot this on film. I don't think this was digital. I'm looking at it, and certain things are happening where it's like, I have not seen that since the 90s. Hold on. Did you use Lee? This is not like you. You actually shot this on film. You went back to 1635 millimeter to shoot this?
Not 1635.
I was like, did you use film for this? Because to think about that, I can't just shoot this digitally. This story is so, I have to shoot this on film.
Yeah. I questioned if he's shot it on film or even some of the screens was it green screen because of the way it, like the some of the parts, the experimental metaphorical parts to it was so beautifully transitioned. Is this green screen? It was beautiful. He did it in a way that kept you in the story, that didn't lose you.
Yep.
Which is what was lacking in the Underground Railroad. But anyway, I am going to. When I saw this film, I couldn't breathe, and I knew I had to get it out, but I didn't want it to come out through tears. And I put it in writing, and I did a blogging about it on my site, and I'm just going to read what I put because I knew I had to get it out of my body, or it would have manifested into something else. So definitely wouldn't have manifested into something I wanted to like weight loss, but whatever. So this is what I put. When I decided to distract my thoughts from my current battles as a Black woman in a genre where men who refuse to allow your voice to be heard, I normally turn to comedy. Flipping through channel to channel, app to app, a trailer showed up about United States versus Billie Holiday on Hulu. Regardless of being a Gen X baby, I loved Billie Holiday and her unique voice. I so enjoy harmonizing with her. So Hulu got the click, and boy was I woof. I wasn't expecting this life-boggling, heart-wrenched, tear-dropping journey. Firstly, I want to say thank you to the director producer Lee Daniels, screenwriter Suzanne Lori Parks, aka SLP, and to all the cast and crew who are involved in this beautiful project. I mostly want to personally say congratulations to Andrea Day, who recently won a Golden Globe for her performance as Billie Holiday. You all have made a very important and powerful film that I am convinced has justified Billie Holiday from the inaccurate image of her created by white supremacists who worked so hard to silence her voice. Thank you for setting the record straight on who she is to the black culture. I love that Lee Daniels kept her story honest and real. For decades, her image has been tarnished because of the bigotry she went through in her life over fighting for civil rights, unknowingly. That Black Lives Matter, the United States government's battle against Billie Holiday, wasn't over her song Strange Fruit. It was over her black excellence. They actually believed her singing Strange Fruit was the devil's work and would cause a riot. They worked so hard to destroy her in any and every way possible, even through us. And although they believed they have succeeded at the end of her life by handcuffing her dead body to the hospital bed, claiming there were drugs found in the hospital room, they didn't win. You can walk into any Whole Foods or just be waiting in a five-star hotel lobby, and you will hear her beautiful voice everywhere. I don't need to tell you all about what happened in the movie thus far, but I do need to encourage everyone who is watching, everyone who is listening right now, to go watch that film. Now, know her story, and make sure all of your children and children's children know her story. That's how Billie Holiday continues to live through us, her people. So thank you, Lee Daniels and SLP, for telling her long overdue story. I saw so much of myself in her struggle with the government and her battle with their fear of her strength and talents. I can relate on so many levels. I wholeheartedly thank you for vindicating her. Billie Holiday's story isn't just about U.S. government cases against her singing about lynching black people. It's about their problem with black excellence, especially through the mind and body of a black woman. Let that sink in.
Period.
And
Agreed. So agreed.
Let the choir say amen.
Yeah.
Gabby, you have any input, anything to share on this one?
Yes, because myself actually, I've always heard of Billie Holiday, but I didn't really know the story too much about her. So watching this was very much of an eye opener just to see how much struggles that she went through, and that another common thing that tend to notice women during that time during a particular aspect, whether it was just going through hardship of with parents, also the struggles with sexual abuse, and then all, as well as being mistreated by men. And it's like the outlets, like who could you talk to? Like you didn't have anyone to really share your stories with. It was like basically this is what it is. And it kind of put me in remembrance of I was watching Cadillac Records and the Etta James story as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, the common themes with these women that they have, the things that they have to go through, and they still standing. Like at the end of the day, it common factor were brought down because a lot of times people use the drugs to help with to suppress those traumas versus being able to get the actual help that they need. But as far as that story, and it goes again within our government, what they do time and time again, how they would use one of us to infiltrate and go against the community. Like the same man that you thought loved you was the same man that was working for the government. And then
Against you.
Against you, right?
Working against you. And it goes to the fact that again, who could we really trust as people? And that's the reason why when they same thing when they're talking out here. Yeah, that's the reason why we have to ask questions, and we might not trust you to want to run to your medical, do certain things because you have let us down so many times. Like that trust factor. How are we supposed to trust this government when you clearly keep showing us signs and signs and signs again that you are not to be trusted?
Nope.
In everything from medical to even dealing with your family, because it's either they use one of your own to work against you, or they find some other way to try to break you down.
And that's what they did with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even at the end, she within the bed, she still had them, when she passed her remark with the guy, like I was like, yeah, she was like, yeah, you still ain't get me. What? And that attitude before she knew she was on her deathbed, but it's just
Yeah.
like whatever. I am not giving up. You not gonna make me. You ain't gonna get me to give
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
So,
And to
um,
think for Billie Holiday, though, not to cut you off, sorry, but she did this during a time that was literally before the civil rights movement. She pretty
Mm-hmm.
much ignited the civil rights movement. If you're
Yeah.
following the time period,
Right.
and she did it unknowingly and by
yep,
herself.
yep. With no, just was like, and that's again, standing up, like you just got to stand at some point, and being not, like we say, 10 toes down, being not that you're not able to fold, and that's what she did. She was like, this is what it is. And even what got me, the part that got me in my heart just so dropped was when they were doing the road trip, and they went and they stopped in the house and they had those kids, and then you realize what was going on. And it's like to go in and you see that their father was lynched, and that part just made my heart drop so bad
Yeah.
inside of that house. And then the way they turned that around to like it was a different scene. But imagine that the trauma still, that the everyday traumas that was going on, and these kids are living, and then like, so
And that's
you know
our reality. That's our reality that they want us to forget. That's our
Yes.
exactly.
reality that they don't want us to continue to talk about. Those two kids that was in the house while they're watching their dad be lynched outside their backyard. That's our grandmother or
Thank
great
you.
grandmother. And
Thank
we're
you.
supposed to
Thank
forget?
you. That exact, and that's the biggest thing now, because they sometimes make you think this happened a long time
It
ago.
wasn't that long ago.
No,
No.
there are
No.
people who are still living that's 100 years old. That's somebody great grandmother, right? That's still living. So when you talk about generations not being really truly able to heal their traumas, because usually within the Black community too, we sometimes don't tend to talk about certain things, right?
Right.
It's either you sweep it under the rug, or it is what it is, or you don't get that proper
Or you have to deal with Judas's.
exactly.
Exactly.
So it goes, and some people wonder why things is the way it is. It's not that you're always trying to blame the white man for certain things, but there are certain aspects that we have that our community still aren't able to, hasn't confronted to heal from, and
Yeah.
face certain traumas. So imagine that as a child, and those were, I believe, two young females, right?
Yeah.
And I was watching something into that talks about, as women, we're born with all the eggs that we need from we come out into this world. You're born with all your eggs. So imagine those two young girls, they're still carrying that trauma that they see, and regardless of whatever, once they start to have kids, that goes down into
The
them
trauma
unless they're
direct.
able
Yeah.
to heal that properly.
Yep.
So um again, that was another aspect. And the cinematography was really nice,
It was
and
Beautiful.
beautiful.
Andre Day did a
Beautiful.
wonderful job,
He
because
did.
for someone, I was reading an article, and I'm trying to be fast. She didn't smoke or drink, and for this particular position, she had to smoke and she had to drink. So
And she
again,
lost weight too for it.
and it had to take a lot a toll on her, as coming to an actor stage. But the casting was very done. I think that putting her as the main character was a good job, because her voice is so beautiful
Yeah.
Yeah.
naturally as well.
Hmm.
So again, those aspects, and again, it just with the government, it was so much things that they have tried to do. I
And
was
we're
just
still seeing it.
And we're still seeing it.
And when they talk about, just like now, when you see all of a sudden now you want to because you want to profit off the sale off of marijuana, or the profit to sell of CBD. How many of our brothers got locked up for so
20,
many
30
days for the
years.
war? Yeah, when you want to say the war on drugs and blase, but in reality, now that you're seeing you want to make a profit off of it, oh, now you're trying to be like, oh, we're cool with that, but yes, still, how many of our folks got locked up for
For it.
something small?
Yeah.
20, 30
So
years. Lives
yeah.
destroyed before it. But I'm so proud of people like Lee Daniels, who want our truth to be told,
Yeah.
and will work, you know, to the end of time, and for it to be told right. They did an interview with Oprah. It's also on the Hulu channel, on discussing the making of the show, and she spoke with Lee Daniels and Andrea and the lead actor, the guy from Moonlight, who's also, that boy is just a
He's amazing.
creature, like, god damn, like I just had to say that. But
Name is
yeah,
Trevante Rose.
yeah. I mean, like, and to know that they so took this job seriously, as much as we expected them to be, but to see their humility too was refreshing. Andrea, they were, when they were talking about how they convinced her, because she was so again, I don't know, I'm not an actor yet, whatever. I'm
Right.
just trying to, I don't know, she was so, but she was willing to do
Yep.
whatever was necessary for her to give Billie Holiday her justice, and even down to the after. I love the scene with her and the guy dancing, and she was like, oh, don't step on my dress, and she was still talking in character. And he was like, you don't even know what dress who made it, and she was like, it don't matter, it's mine. Like, it was something like that she said, and she still did it in character. I thought that was so cute and so, like, genuine to see. And I feel like anyone that wants to think about our forefathers, our legends who have lived this life, and yes, they had addictions that they had to cope, that they dealt with. Look at their life. You can kind of understand and sympathize as to why they use that as an outlet. Her being on drugs, did she really have a choice?
Yep.
She
Exactly.
did. She
But
did
what
it.
was going on? With what was going on?
What
That
was
was
going
the
on?
next
I mean,
best
she was
thing.
being pimped by her own mama. It was she
Yeah.
did she have a choice in the matter? And yes, she did become an addict, but she also was struggling, and we saw that. We also saw her inner circle working against her. It was very, very
It was a
telling.
lot.
And you think of people
Yeah.
like her and Miles Davis, like phenomenal musician
Yeah.
who had an addiction.
Fiction.
Mhm.
Yep.
And even
And
though
Etta
we don't
James
know his
too. Etta
backstory
James.
yet, I'm sure somebody gonna tell it. But I'm
Right.
sure it's something, because Cicely Tyson touches on his story, but she touches on his story that pertains to her. Her part of her story with him. But
Yeah.
he has a story too. There's something that led to that, and with the times that we live in, you kind of understand why they made those choices and to choose this way to cope. Not to say that was the right decision, but they did what they could to cope at that time. What other options did they have? Would I,
Right.
turn to crack and cocaine? I don't think so, because my skin, like, it wouldn't work out for me. So it would, but
But
still,
no, I think
we all have our
think
coping mechanisms.
no, and I think
Yeah.
you're hitting on something that's very, very important there. That even like for me as a kid, seeing certain movies about the entertainers and knowing that this was their coping mechanism was actually very disappointing to me. Now keep in
Yeah.
mind, I'm seeing it in What's Love Got to Do with It. Frankie
Mhm.
Lyman. We saw it in The Temptations.
Right.
Now here it is. I think it was my 19th or 20th birthday. We go out to have dinner and we go to the movies to see Ray. And now Ray, you too? You too.
Right.
You
Right.
didn't even see your veins.
I was like, what at that point, but now I gave you the age. Now I get a little older. Now I dig deeper.
You
Now I learn
understand.
more and learn more. It's like what
That's
like between what society's doing to you,
Mm-hmm.
between your own personal and demons and vendettas, and now the industry that you're working in, they're trying to steal your music and your money.
Mm-hmm.
What choices did you have?
What choices did you have?
And she was
then,
obviously.
so after Ray, nobody surprised me after that.
Yeah.
Nobody. After Ray, I was yeah.
Go ahead.
I think with me, I mean, I know when I first got ready to watch the movie, I saw it was like 2 hours and 10 minutes. I literally looked at that. I think I got through an hour and 5 minutes of it. I'm gonna be honest. It hit so many emotional points for me. I was
Mhm.
able to relate so much to it. I'm like, let me break it up. I'll watch the other hour at a different time. She was obviously in so much pain that Andre did playing her and just. I always knew Billie Holiday from the Billie Holiday with the flower in her hair.
Yeah.
Lady Sings the Blues, Billie Holiday.
Yeah.
Beautiful voice of an angel, Billie Holiday. And I never saw her portrayed in the way she was portrayed in this movie.
Yeah.
And it was courageous for them to do this. to put such an honest portrayal of her out there for us to say this is what she really went through. Her not being here with us today, I believe she would have wanted that story told, because even in the scene where she asked for help, she said, "I don't need your time, I need help." And you're openly asking for help, and you're still not getting the help. So no, she wanted. You could tell it wasn't intentional. She was self-inflicting a lot of things on herself just to survive, just to make it, just to give people what they wanted. And in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, a lot of entertainers were seen as, and excuse me for saying this, but niggas who could put on a show. That's what I don't care how beautiful you were. I don't care how talented you were. This nigga gonna put on a show. She still couldn't use the same elevator. She couldn't still sit at the same tables. But when she was on stage, you're getting all this applause, and that's like a slap in the. Am I good? Am I not good? Do they love me? Do they not love me? And that's emotionally turmoil back and forth, that pool. And it was portrayed so well. And again, I had to kind of pause, and I literally just watched Judas and the Black Messiah before it, and I was like, okay, my heart can't take my heart can't take a lot of that right now. But I think that it was amazing how they were able to actually strip away the beauty of Billie Holiday. And when I say that, I'm not saying she was a beautiful person, but the movie was able to strip away the beauty that we saw, that we knew her of, and in this raw form, to where you almost saw her as just a human person, just a person who has things going on. And literally, I got to see her as a person, and I so appreciated them making this movie. I think, I'm gonna definitely watch the other hour of it, but I was like, I can't right now. So, yeah, I'll do that today. But yeah,
it's too much pressure.
Oh my god! And how you mentioned how they were doing the sheen shots, I love how remote the whole movie for me had a tone of this kind of a sadness, remote tone. Even when she was singing, even when she on stage, you still felt sad for her.
Yeah,
she's singing these beautiful songs. Even when they were upbeat, you're still like, oh my god, you're still like, slumped over, sad for her. Even though it was supposed to be this upbeat, no, they did amazing. It was amazing. Yeah,
I think one of my favorite A Star Is Born moments for Andrea, and I know this is a small thing, but for me, it was when she was about to come out on stage, and the police was all lined up at the back of the bar, ready, whatever, and she didn't know they were out there yet. So when she came on stage, and she saw them, and then she looked at her band member, and their language between his eyes were saying, "Don't you sing that damn song."
right.
And she was like, "Motherfucker, who you talking to?" It was you could see that conversation without their mouths even moving.
Mm-hmm.
And
amazing.
for me, I said, there you go, Oscar
that's
winner. Yeah, that's come through, baby. And then when she started, here they come. And it was it was so beautifully executed. I don't know why that moment just sticks out for me for her, but it did. I think it was because her face, the way it just shifted. We saw the, I'm about to perform. Oh, wait, the pop. It was, we saw it and we felt it. And we get it without them even having to exchange words. And I love stuff like that when a filmmaker director actually do it that way. And it was beautiful. It was, and the dresses. The dresses.
The dresses were beautiful.
I know we ain't talking about Miss Lawrence. I know we ain't talking about Miss Lawrence up in there, but I gotta give her 2 thumbs up because she did kill it. She did kill it. They were cracking up backstage too. With her back there, when she tripped me out when he said when the guy came in the room and he was telling her to shut or whatever, and he said to him, and she said to him, "Oh, you rather see me in red lipstick?" I was done. And to think he was the only one that still was by her side, to the end and all.
To the end. Yep. To the end.
Ooh, child. Anyway, we're gonna move on to Concrete Cowboys.
I didn't write about this
Netflix.
I have to clap.
She got a hat, she got a prop.
Yeah, I have to clap. I don't got my cowboy hat, but I have to clap.
Do that, Jessica. Do that.
Well, I'm gonna let you go first for that.
Be ready.
All right. So, I got so emotional, but I enjoyed the film. I truly, truly did. I actually watched it on my iPad, and I don't know why. I was like, oh, I'll put this on. I'll watch it now, and I stayed glued to my little iPad screen till the film was over. It was. I get okay. So here's I had a few problems going through certain things, and I get it. Me personally, I'm not for one for putting kids in the street. I feel like that's how you get smush when you start to do that. So when he came, Mama literally dropped him off on the stoop and said, "Your father be right here," and took off. Mom, this is how we doing this. This how we doing this. Okay, we already off to a terrible start. Pop didn't show up 5 minutes later, and then we all know how the rest of that goes as we proceed. So already I'm like, this is not good. This is not good. One thing I see it more with original Netflix films. The way they get funky with their camera angles, I just love it. When they told him to go empty the manure, and we actually get to see his face pushing it up on the wheelbarrow from there, because
yeah.
see, I'm like,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm loving this. I'm like, so the way they shot it to give us
We're seeing the struggle.
the real struggle,
cowboy struggle.
the real struggle.
cowboy struggle.
While he's wearing the cowboy struggle, while he's wearing his Jordans. I just want
Right.
to throw those out there too. The brand new Jordans. I'm like, you fool! What are you doing? And I said, okay. I was like, okay, this is what we do.
Am I the
He
only
just
one
told
here
you to
that was
clean up.
actually glad that those sneakers got messed up?
I was glad to.
It's like, you deserve it. I have no sympathy, boo. Why would you? They told you to clean manure. Why wouldn't you wear the sneakers you came up there with versus these brand new?
He ain't used to that. He was city boy life. So
He was
going
city boy.
in that country,
I
And
think
that's
the title
what-
was so fitting.
yeah.
I think the title
Yes,
was so
concrete.
concrete. I thought it was like a
Concrete.
New York story thing. I'm thinking, New York jungle, we're about
Well,
to get it.
well, when I looked at the description, I was like, Philadelphia. That's the first thing that grabbed me. So I was like, okay, now I want to see this. And then to know at the end that this was actually a
Yeah,
true
right.
story, that this was actually, I was like, oh my goodness, like this is just so like, and then and the loving history behind it, like how
Yeah.
they were sitting by the fire and talking and giving you that tidbit of history. It's like, you know what, I'm just gonna say it. Gentrification is a motherfucker.
Yup. That's one of the biggest thing you hit.
Boom.
Because that was the first thing that came to my mind as it, because the fact is, it's like, this is now.
Yep.
This isn't like 50 something years ago. These are stables that are taking place in North Philadelphia right now, and it kills me because within this last couple of years, I've been taking a couple trips back and forth from Philadelphia. Had no clue.
Yeah, me,
None.
No
Yeah.
clue. And all these
None.
people, all of these celebrities and whatever, that's Philly proud. That's Philly proud. And makes me, do you know about your own people's, like do you know of this, and how come this doesn't affect you the way it's affecting the world? You know, it was, I love the fact that they used real characters, like these real people that
Yes.
actually live
Yes.
the story.
Yeah.
I loved that they did
Yes.
that. I also love to see the boys from when they see us blossoming into these amazing
Yes.
actors. I'm like, yeah, that's right, killing boys, like they Marthas.
And that's another thing too, because it was like we all know it's smush.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
He
do.
wants
Yeah.
the right thing. He wants to do the right thing. He's just he's
wrong-
taking the wrong route to get it.
Yeah.
That was the only way that offered him the fast
That he
money.
knew,
And
right?
I-
And it's
I
just
felt
like,
his story so bad, and I was just
Mhm.
the character Jerome Jerome, and he's from They See Us. But watching his story, I was like, my heart at the scene, when he finally his demise. But it was just like, oh my God, he really wanted to set himself up where he was trying to get a ranch and do the same
And
thing,
do
like.
the same thing.
Like maybe the adults didn't really know what he truly had in his mind, but his whole goal was, I'm just doing this because this is what I want to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
First
still
of all-
had that cowboy
Love.
inside of him.
Yeah.
So
listen,
Well,
just the fact to know that Chuck belonged to him,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
and you had him in the living room,
Yep.
Yeah.
kept him for a reason.
Yeah.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
Idris Elba.
Oh, girl, you stole my whole line. That's all I had to say.
That was one of my
dirty,
main
dirty t-shirt. I don't
Here's
care.
another
I
one.
don't
Here's
force
another one.
manure. Whatever. Okay.
Method Man. I said.
Oh my
Those
God.
were the
Okay,
only
yes,
two
yes.
reasons why I literally was just like, ooh, Method Man in this. Ooh, Elders, let me watch it.
I saw those names. I said, "Oh, they better get dirty. I better see something."
Girl,
And
stop.
even with Method Man, like you could, one could argue in terms of the three movies that we discussed that Method was the Judah.
A little bit,
Was
yeah.
a little bit, but was he
He came
really?
through at the
Or
end,
was he?
but yeah.
Or he
But
was
was he really?
Yeah.
Or he was Jimmy and Billy.
Yeah.
Billie Holiday versus
Yeah.
He
I
was
say
more
he
of a
was
Jimmy than
A Jimmy.
You know,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, I mean, they were looking at him as he was Judas because you heard what he
'Cause
just
he
said
had
to
on
him.
the
You
shield.
gave up. You
'Cause
gave
remember,
up
he
your
was a
whole. You
police
gave up your
officer.
boots
Yeah.
for the shield.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
But
but still,
he's-
he was still for the people. I'm for the
Yep.
people. I gotta get that
Yeah,
out
he
of
was.
my head. He was. He
first
was
of all,
still
when
for the
you
people.
when he was chasing them down, it was like, okay, I know you know who those boys are. Why are you running them down? It got to a point
Right.
where it was like, I know you could tell them they got away. Why are you still running them down? But it just again the back and forth between us not being collaborative with each other and working
Exactly.
together. You could have just as well worked with them to get them stables up to par before the city came and took them horses away.
Word.
For me, you know, I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit, and I mean, I had to give it a 3.5 or a 3, not because of the story. I love that the story was real. I think I just wanted to see more, and because it's it's strong. I mean, you have a stable in the city of Philadelphia. When did this happen? How
Run
did this
by
happen?
Black
How did
people.
this start? Run by Black people. I think if there had been, for me, a little bit more of the origin of it, they kind of try to talk about it here and there. Oh, this has been going on for years. We've been doing this for years. But like exactly how? Like exactly how? Like how? Whose idea was this to start a stable in Philadelphia and have Black people run it as labeled Cowboys? I just think if there had been a little bit more history for me. I mean, of course I know I can Google and I can look, but I'm just saying for the movie, I think the movie was they were trying to hit the points really fast because it was only
Yeah.
a movie.
Yeah.
It could have easily been a 6-part series, which I know Jessica hates. It
Yeah.
could have easily been that to do more of the history and to get us more invested in what was really going on because I wanted to be like, oh my God, I'm already like, this is amazing. And I just felt like I just wanted more.
Yeah.
By the end of it, I didn't feel like I had enough,
Yeah.
enough.
I think they were just doing enough for you to get the gist of what they're doing now,
Right.
to get
Right.
help now. And I got that overall feeling from the ending when they was like, revealing all the true characters and their closing remarks and whatever. And I was, oh, okay,
Right.
I get it. They want to make sure that they still stay around for our. Okay, got it. Which
Yeah.
made
And
me,
that makes sense. That makes
which,
sense.
Yeah, which made me, okay. So how come they need help when?
Again, exactly.
Well, I mean, just knowing what little bit tidbits I do know about Pennsylvania, even outside of their cities, the majority of that state is all farmland. Period. So even
Yeah,
before
but you
Philadelphia
have
became
Billy proud celebrities
wait.
like Kevin Hart, who can just
No.
buy a whole town at this point.
well, no, but I'm talking about the back history of it. Like before Philadelphia probably became the industrial city as we know it today.
Right.
You know, they probably had he's like, what stable did you come from? What stable did you come from? It seemed like the city itself had stables all over
Yeah.
at one point. Like the
Yeah.
guy said, he goes, trucks put an end to that. Once I guess the motorized trucks and the pickup trucks came up to par, they didn't need the horses anymore. But at the same time, it's like it ties into a lot of things. Like people, I think, especially for city folks, don't necessarily think and not all, just some, don't think in the grand scheme of things. And when they
Yeah.
think of the U.S. as a country,
Yeah.
the U.S. as a country is a majority of farmland. We got little cities planted
Yeah.
all over the country, but the majority of it is farmland, and some of those farmers are Black.
Yeah.
Yep.
It could be a strong
who out here
documentary. I
struggling-
can see somebody writing this as a strong documentary.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And really pulling those people back in and talking about it. I would love to see it as a documentary, to be perfectly honest, and really get the feel of it and have some dates and how long has this been really going on, and oh my God, especially that it's still happening.
Yeah.
It could be so strong with a documentary.
Exactly.
And then there's got to be some type of laws that establish for them horses because
Right.
there's lands all over this country that cannot be touched because that's where free horses roam.
Right.
So,
What's
I'm
going
like,
on?
where are the animal activists on this?
Hello. I know one thing though. When they went into when the boy went into Idris' house and he was looking around and see what kind of chaos it was, I was thinking to myself, honey, I ain't seen nothing wrong. I went to 99-cent store, got some supplies, came back. What your neighbor?
Look,
I don't
First of
know.
all, when he
Well,
told
I love me
you
some interest, but I don't know. That house was rough. That house was rough, girl. I don't know.
that ain't even a
Yeah, I
bachelor pad, man. Like, what is going on here, man?
No,
When he
that was no
this is
bachelor
all,
pad.
when he said this all you right here, I said,
That was
okay,
a
wait.
barn.
Like, you couldn't even give the boy no blankets and
That
sheets.
was
Talk about this is
bad.
all you right here.
That boy grabbed that garbage bag. He went to the lady. He said, "Can I please stay with you?" She's like, "No, sir."
But
Your
I know
daddy got
just
rules. I got rules.
you hit the point of why the mom dropped him off. I think the mom at that point with him, because at some point when it comes to, young men at a certain age, they sometimes need to have that male figure within it. And I feel like the mom did what she can do. And she's like, you know what? This time I can't do nothing more. So what?
No. And that part I get. No, that part
That
I
was
get. But
straight
even
Boys in the Hood.
That's what I'm saying. But even in Boys in the Hood,
Yeah.
Angela Bassett and Lawrence Fishburne had a conversation
They did.
before she left.
But-
She straight just dropped the boy off and ditched.
I think because within that aspect, he knew that his son was coming because she called the father. She gave the father heads up, but it just seemed like the father he kind of aloft a bit. He was just like, oh, okay, whatever, because he knew the boy was coming, but where he was still out there doing their little barn, they fire gaze and chit chatting with him.
I see you when I see you. Don't let you run
Yeah,
nowhere.
like, the mom supposed to be coming. He still never. Even when she called him, was like, "I'm here." He's still in the move to go be like, "Y'all, I gotta go." He just sat right there in that barn. In the fire blaze, I forgot what they called the bonfire. Sat right there, and they were just talking, telling their stories. So, like for me, I give it like a 4. I enjoyed the story. I was just here one day sitting down. I was like, oh, this looked interesting because the young man. I'm a fan of Stranger Things, so to see his growth. I was watching Stranger Things. And I'm like, oh, they're growing up.
Yeah.
So
and the
when I watched,
when they see us.
See his growth too from how small they were, see the man in them growing up. But just the story alone itself, because I didn't even know they have something like that going on in Philadelphia, and it just goes to show you, there's still a lot of history and our own traditions within the Black community, but it just doesn't get talked about a lot. Especially when you go into certain towns and area, like if it's at a part of a Black town. It has history, but we sometimes overlook it. Like, oh, it's just now it might look like the ghetto or run down, or it hasn't been gentrified, changed. But there's a history in this town. So just to see that, you had the group that was there and the folks that was just trying to still teach, other kids how to use the horses, and then you still also show the story of what it is when. Outside certain communities dealing with drugs and, selling drugs and things like that, and how, it can still play a part.
Society still stinks in.
Yeah. But
it's a reminder too that there is literally nothing we cannot do.
Exactly.
Nothing we cannot accomplish. Nothing.
Yep.
If you think it, a Black person's doing it.
That's
Somewhere.
right.
Somebody's got to tell that story.
Yep. And even and that's one of my things why I'm like, regardless of whatever, I love my people. I know sometimes we have righteousness, but just the uniqueness to know that no matter what you go through, no matter how much things been thrown away, still standing.
Yes, right.
Still standing. You have tried to cut us off medically. You tried to cut us off financially, and we still find a way to make it.
Find a way. Yep.
So I'm like, I always say I love my peoples. Sometimes you be like, Lord. Like when you hear stories of different stories, like when it's a Black story, aka Black story versus it's a white person story. But it's just the essence to see like we just always keep trying. And then it goes back to with, even when they was talking and put me in the mind of when they was on the bonfire. Just as growing up, a lot of us don't understand what tradition, where that oral aspect of how we learn things, of we come together.
I was just going to say that. Yep.
And we tell our stories.
Yep.
And that's how things get, told from generations to
preservation. It's how we preserve. It's how we preserve.
Yep. That aspect I found to be like, so warming. Like you hear this, like they sitting together, and this is something that's been going on for years upon years.
Yeah, I felt like I wanted to be at that bonfire. I would have bought a six-pack.
Mm-hmm. But you know what? Somewhere along the way, we lost that, and I think, in addition to us being traumatized so much, you just don't want to go back there. Like, think about it. I just this week we celebrated the 100th anniversary for Tulsa, Greenboro, and the special that I saw on CBS, the one that Gail did, they highlighted one young lady, and she's third generation. Grew up in Oklahoma, and and she didn't know about this until she got grown. Like,
Yeah, they hit it. They hit it.
Come on, now, and it's not even so much society. Oklahoma, we know, hit it. They even society even
Oklahoma.
denied this happened for about
Right.
50 years or so. But the folks who lived there, who knew that this happened, you didn't tell your kids, you didn't tell the grandkids. Like, you. Now I can understand you not wanting to go back to that trauma that happened. You don't want to go back there. I get it. But this can't happen. This is how stuff gets lost because we don't talk about it. We don't talk to each other.
And
you know, Angela Bassett is making a movie on it. Her and her husband.
Angela Bassett?
Angela Bassett and her husband are teaming together to make either a series or a movie on Tulsa.
Ooh,
Nice.
and Courtney Vaughn, Countess Vaughn.
Yeah, it's coming. Yeah.
I said his name wrong,
Yeah,
sorry.
if the two of them are on this, you already know it's gonna be tasteful, classy.
Yeah. Even though when I read the article about it, there was so much I won't say so much, but there was backlash from Black people saying, when are we gonna stop doing this? Aren't we tired of reliving our pain and our oppression? There's so many, positive stories about Black people out there. And we talked about this on the last time, we spoke about just it can be exhausting. It can be, but I think it's necessary. I mean, it has
to be, because we're still going through it in some form of fashion.
Yeah.
And until you get it that this needs to be reminded, you're going to keep going through it and either you make the decision to submit to allow them to control you, your way of thinking, your way of being or whatever, or you stick up for yourself, you make your voice heard, you know what I'm saying, you take the advantages that your ancestors died for you. Those are the options. You either live to live, or you know what I'm saying, or you don't.
You eradicate ignorance.
Yeah.
You eradicate ignorance, because I've been ignorant. There are things I was like, what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's I remember times being embarrassed that there were things I didn't know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how did I miss that?
Yeah,
how did I miss that? So no, you eradicate ignorance.
You know what story I would like for somebody to tell? The story of Uncle Tom. Like, where did that phrase come from? How did it start? Who was it?
Yeah.
Well, we know who is, but you know what I'm saying? How that story came to be? Because I love doing that around, like,
Uncle Tom. Come on, girl.
Because we have our Judases, Judas. We have our Judases, but Uncle Tom is like, okay, he won't kill you, but he'll still make sure you suffer. Like, just to benefit.
Oh, he'll do enough to help you ruin yourself.
Yeah,
basically.
Do enough. Yeah,
just enough. Yeah.
I'm curious about that story, Uncle Tom. Okay,
right,
ahead, Jessica. You was about to say something.
Oh no, it's just like you said. How we gonna know where we're going if we don't know where we've been?
Yep. Yeah.
So sometimes you have to go back and learn from the past so that we know what not to do moving forward. So we can learn from the mistakes that the silent generation and the boomers made. I feel like Gen X, millennials and Gen Z, we are at the prime time to learn from them. Okay, what went right, what went wrong.
Yep.
Okay, we got this. Now we know what to do moving forward with the knowledge right here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
About the money fingers,
And I
girl.
feel like if you're
the knowledge is right here. It's at our fingertips. Come on now, let's go with this.
I think the same people that's tired of seeing these timepieces or seeing these biopic pieces and whatever, you should be just as tired of seeing Black stories being told about gang violence and selling drugs and being pimps. And all that. You should be just as tired, because that is not our story. I get so tired of seeing. We need this story told again. I mean, yes, I love watching Power. I do love Power, but outside of Power, I'm tired of seeing it. I'm so tired of seeing. Oh, I'm writing a story. I'm writing a script. Oh, really? My question. What is it about? Oh, it's about this dude that made it out. Out the. Okay.
You think?
Good luck.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
I don't have no interest in following it. I don't have no interest in supporting it. I don't have no interest, in being a part of it in any way, because that is not our only story to tell.
It's not, but I think a lot of people like it because it's relatable. I think a lot of people.
It's relatable, yes, but I can relate.
Yes, but you want to get out of that norm.
Right.
You need to get out of that norm. So I agree.
But I think we did that in the 90s to a certain degree. Like, I feel like the 90s, all the way from the beginning of the 90s to the end of the 90s, showed the range of black folks from the television screen to the big screen, okay? Yes, we had those. We had, the Boys in the Hoods, the Juices, the Menace to Societies. But then we also had Love Jones and Jason's Lyric and Poetic Justice, and then later we had the Brothers and the Best Man and the Wood, and then the Different World, Living Singles, Martin. Like, we saw a range of black folks all over the place. So there's no reason why that can't continue, especially if we're the ones telling the story, because a lot of folks might argue that was the beginning of the black exploitation. I don't consider it exploitation if we're the ones telling the story.
And even so, as you're talking, and going back to what you were saying, Billy, with the different representation, like, all right, we know in Hollywood, we have representation when it comes to certain white films. You always do them stories of the middle-class white family and stuff. But why I don't see stories about the middle class, too many middle-class black folks? Because you do have that too, and there are some people that can face that. Like, not everybody grew up in the so-called ghetto atmosphere. There's a lot of people that grew up in middle-class families that had both parents.
I think Tyler's doing his best to try to show that
for black people.
Yes, Tyler is working on that, but he needs a lot of work too. He needs a lot of help.
Thank you. So thank you for saying that, Trisha.
Keeping it balanced, because I hardly see any stories about, like, we see with the aspect of the white guy financial, but hello, there's black business folks too that were working, or black business owners and stuff like that. So we want to see that too.
Whenever they try that, there's never I don't feel like a lot of ratings. I'm for that, but I think it's all about ratings. Like you said last time we talked, it's all about entertainment. It's a reality, but for some reason, the other us is where the money comes, is where the viewers come. And I think that stems from us. We have to be more, susceptible to saying we don't want to see that. Yeah. But for some reason, they're still inviting it. So they're going to keep making it. I mean, they're just doing what the demand is.
Well, I agree, Ro. I agree, but then I disagree, because I feel like they do show it to a certain degree, but we can't be normal. We must be crooked. And it's like we can't run. That's right back, for instance. And what was it? Scandal and How to Get Away with Murder. Very powerful women. Very powerful, educated women. Did they walk the straight and narrow? Absolutely not.
No.
Mary Jane, very powerful woman, educated, smart, successful. Did she walk the straight line? No, absolutely not.
No.
The Quad, we got a slew of black academia. Yeah. Great. But the drama on this campus is, I cannot take it.
Yeah.
And then can we? I don't even want to touch upon Greenleaf. We already know what we.
Oh my God, Greenleaf.
Oh my God.
I couldn't get into that. I wanted to. What a episode? No, it's really, I was just too much.
I'm like, now y'all done went to the church, the black church. Okay,
still wasn't on the straight and narrow.
It still wasn't on the straight and narrow.
Nowhere near the straight and narrow. Okay, nowhere near. We're not even in the neighborhood.
So what do we get from that? I mean, by saying that, what are you saying? Just
that we don't have one story.
No, we have the stories of us in the lights, but that we're crooked. We can't be normal black. We can't just be normal black folk. We gotta be black folk, successful, educated folk, but we're not.
Something wrong with it.
Exactly. You know what I mean? That's the part that I can't get. It's like,
that's not right.
Why something gotta be wrong?
I was taking it differently.
I don't run the straight and narrow either, but I do my best.
Right.
But I think that's the gist of it. Like, yes, we are not perfect, and we are flawed, but we don't have one story. We can be flawed in all these other versions of stories. We don't have one. I meant to say, when I said, being tired of timepieces and whatever, then being tired of the whole gangbanging things too. I'll still watch it, especially if there's a set it off too. I am going to be on that set if I gotta kill somebody. Okay.
I need to know the cast. I need to see the cast first.
I know, right?
I would love to see that come back. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. But that's more blah 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 drama than it is about gangbanging and whatever the case may be. But we still have other stories to tell. Like you said, not everybody grew up in the PJs. Not everybody grew up with a crackhead mama. Not I did.
Right.
My mother got 4 degrees. Let her call her crackhead if you want to. I did. I met her.
Let me say something.
I did.
One of the only films that I can actually say that they've done in modern day that really just show, just regular, normal black, especially women, was Hidden Figures. These was just regular women here trying to make a living that was smart and bright and work for NASA.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's also a
I think
timepiece.
my most recent triumph something I saw was Sylvie's Love. I don't know if y'all saw that. But
Yes.
Oh,
on Pride.
I'll tell you
That was
something.
good.
That
That
movie
was
being
good.
set in the 60s, but every scene I was waiting for them to watch TV and say, "Oh, MLK was assassinated. Oh, this guy got beat. Oh,
Yep.
somebody got lynched," and it never happened.
Yep. It was just a
love
beautiful
in the
story.
And I was like, Jesus, thank you.
And it was actually amazing to me at that point because I'm like, you're going through the 60s. We're not going to hit upon none of this? Okay. But that wasn't what it was about.
It was about that was a
Right.
I was so happy. I'm like, oh my God, yay. They in love.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. But I was waiting for it though. That's the thing. I was waiting for it something because it was in the 60s. I'm like, something horrible's gonna happen. He's gonna get pulled over by the cops. They gonna drag him out the car. But it never happened, and I was pleased.
And Duke of Butt Cheeks was in that too. Duke of Butt Cheeks from Bridgerton.
Oh, he was.
He is the Duke of Butt Cheeks.
Gabby, you watched that? You watched Bridgerton?
No, I did not.
Oh, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it before we start talking about it. It's on the list. You gotta watch it before we talk about it. But that is the Duke of Butt Cheeks.
Well, girl, why? Because that's all we saw.
Duh.
Without telling. Oh my God, butt cheeks everywhere.
Yeah, I gotta get into it.
Yes.
He's a cutie, though.
You're going to love it. Gabby, I'm telling
And
you,
I
you're
have
going to love it.
questions about it too, but we'll talk about it at another time.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and end this show. where we at? Before I do end the show, I do want to highlight my background. Product placement.
Nice.
Product placement. Oh, Lord Jesus, I done shut the whole damn.
Yeah, look at you.
I
You're
see
so
that, girl.
excited.
Make it
Calm
fall.
down. Look at you.
I'm about to kill Destin for touching something. But anyway, this is my this is from Handmade Only. The Etsy page is up and running and available. So if you like what you see, go to my Etsy page. You'll see it right now. I also want to thank you guys for this conversation again, Roe, Gabby, and Jessica. And if you're watching and you're agreeing with what we're saying or you're not agreeing with what you're saying, then just let us know. Comment. We can continue this conversation on our platform or yours, either way. And don't forget to like Women Are Talking on Facebook and YouTube. That's where the channels, the episodes are put up at the same time. And make sure you tell a friend about this conversation. And thank you for your time and joining us. Okay? Bye.
Hi, everybody.
Doing a cowboy hat. I gotta get
I know I got my shadows, I ain't hiding. In the city like a tourist, taking pictures for forever. Just me and music on a transit. I could ride this out forever. I'm in the